She looks magnificent.
I love her ears.
All right, 3, 2,
5,
1.
9, 2.
You good?
Fooled me twice. Fools can't get fooled again.
What's cracking, guys? Omar Isuf here, back with another video here at Untamed Line. Fitness.
Untamed my heart.
So
say you love me again.
It's got a good echo.
So yeah.
Metal.
So Planet Fitness was closed, so we decided to come here. We're gonna do a Q&A. It's been a while since we've been reunited. We're all just young whippersnappers. Now Alan has a kid. Mike has a singing career. Okay, I didn't want to get
2 kids.
Still useless.
2 kids. Jeez.
Still useless.
So we thought we'd do a Q&A where we answer your questions we post on Instagram. I'll dive right into it. Keep in mind, if we don't answer your questions, it's no disrespect. There's 125 comments. Alan, first question is addressed to you. Alan, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate Omar's squat form? Give it to me, bro. What you don't know about Alan is Alan is honest. Like, you don't even need to say honest. He's just gonna be real.
So, so 1 to 10, 10 would be perfect form.
Yeah.
But I don't think there is a perfect form. There's not perfect technique. Now, when I was a starting strength coach, I would have said a 10 is according to the book or by the model.
Yeah.
But that's not the only way to squat. So it's hard to answer. What I would say is whenever I am looking at someone's squat form, whenever I'm working with someone, there are 2 or 3 things that all you can boil it down to. Are they getting depth?
Yeah.
And are they staying balanced all the way down, all the way up? Everything else kind of falls into place if they're following those 2 things. And then past that, I would look at form as, you know, most people want to lift the most amount of weight, or most people want to lift a certain weight for more reps. So they want to be as efficient as possible. So if Omar's getting depth, he's staying balanced. He's not going onto his heels or his toes. And I think he's lifting the most weight that he can. So I would say that his form is perfect for him. So 10 out of 10.
Wow. Wow. Hey, next one's for Mike, because it's a chest question. Does decline bench serve a purpose in building the chest and getting a bigger bench?
Serve a purpose is another like weird thing to say. Like,
we're all called to a higher purpose in life.
Anything can serve a purpose. Is it on my top 5 most optimal movements that I would choose to like bang for your buck to build strength and a chest? No. I'd probably say it's not even in my top 5. I'd probably go on some kind of flat bench. I mean, if I'm just trying to build my pectoral muscles to look like some boulders resting in between my delts, I'm probably going with like dumbbell work. Yeah. Slightly larger range of motion. Maybe I'll throw in a flat barbell cycle in there to handle a little bit more load, but like flat barbell, flat dumbbell, incline barbell, incline dumbbell, some type of fly. Those are probably my top priority movements. Most bang for my buckos.
I think that this can be said for nearly all variations. That you know, some people will say, man, close grip bench really helped my bench. You know, I was benching, I started doing close grip bench, and now I can bench more.
Hit a PR.
And I'm like, it's probably just because you benched more.
Yeah.
So if someone was doing, you know, whether it's chest development or lifting, you know, more weight, if someone was doing bench and they said, I'm gonna start doing decline bench, a few sets of decline bench after my normal bench.
If it's extra,
it's more bench.
Yeah, if it's extra, for sure. But I wouldn't replace it just because, like, I think the range, the range of motion is less. And even though like a newer lifter can lift more weight on it, most ways that a decline bench works is your feet up. Stability sucks when you start to handle like real loads on that bench, and I think you'll actually lift less than if you lifted with like a proper powerlifting flat bench.
Top 3, both of you guys, I want it. Top 3 deadlift assistance exercises.
I will always say a close variation. So
yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Like variation
pause
is
deadlift,
dependent.
depths of deadlift, stiff leg deadlift, wide grip deadlift.
Let's go just assistance, and maybe we have the same definition. We'll get into it.
So something that's not considered
maybe not considered a deadlift.
So let's say
deadlift's not in the name.
Top assistance movement for the deadlift that's not a deadlift variation.
Yeah, that's not in the name. That's not in the name, right? Like stiff leg deadlift, Romanian deadlift's all in the name. If I had to, I'm not actually a huge fan of this movement, but I think it works well for many of people, many of persons, some dudes. Is a good morning. Alan and I and Omar's had a conversation yesterday. Omar or Alan doing certain exercises, different barbells, different movements, just to handle less weight. Sometimes just not using a belt in the squat because he doesn't want to handle over 450 that week, but he still wants to get a nice workout in, a high level of difficulty. So he'll squat 445 and it'll be an 8 out of 10, but he'll use no belt. I think a good morning is a great way to work the posterior chain that way, and it also forces you to use less load, which sometimes is a good mental physical break. Or if you're on a time crunch, what I could stiff leg deadlift is 400 to 450. It takes a lot more time to warm up to that. What I could good morning properly, maybe 225. The issue there, I guess, is I like specialty bars with it. I think it works with a straight bar, but it feels really good with a safety squat bar or a cambered bar. You can go number 2.
It's not deadlift. I'm having a really hard time doing this. So it's not a deadlift. Atlas stone loads.
Yeah,
Ooh,
that's good.
Oh,
yeah, there's something posterior.
That's a cool one.
If you don't have that, it probably, like most people would say, rows, like lat pull downs or barbell rows, but I think that it definitely has to be lower back and lower body dominant. So I'll say Atlas stone.
Do you have one, or you want me to go?
I mean, I'm gonna say
Squats.
I have one. So I have like 2 then. If we were going to go that route.
I actually was gonna say, despite, I don't think anyone has done a glute hip thrust and has gone from an 800-pound deadlift to like a 900-pound deadlift. But in terms of training a similar pattern of hip extension without loading on the spine, so you could get extra volume. We're assuming that you've already done deadlifts, close variations of deadlifts. I like it for myself, where it just feels easier than on the back.
Yeah, I was gonna go something direct hammy, like a GHR, loaded GHR, loaded back extension.
Yeah, GHR I like.
And squats. I was gonna say belt squat to make me not as much of a cheater as you, because you're probably already squatting.
Yeah.
What about the advice of pushing through your heels during a squat? Should we push through the heels or through the feet uniformly?
I think we all agree on the same point. Alan, you want to take it?
Yeah, uniform. Your balance should be even throughout your full foot.
How do you learn to use RP training properly? In fact, if we could say that it's always facts over feelings, why does RP have a place in any of our training?
It's
That
fact.
was all the question?
No.
He put his
I'll say this though. How do you learn to use RP training properly?
So RP is always there, whether you acknowledge it or not.
Yeah.
Right.
Obi-Wan, Alan Kenobi.
There's always, you do, whatever.
It surrounds us.
315 for
It's what
5
binds
reps.
us.
RP is always there, whether it's a 10 or whether you had a few more in the tank. It's just, RP is just a nice way to package it and label it. So it's just being aware of it. So whatever training you do, even if it's percentage based, even if it was do 75% for 5 sets of 5 today, after each set, just think about could have done a couple more, 2, 3. It doesn't have to be perfect, and it never will be. So I mean, nothing to it but to do it. You just got to practice using RPE to get better at it.
Yeah, and then the more mental note or written note, if you want to get real serious about it, the more accurate you'll be. And then if you want to get real fucking nerdy, which I don't suggest, but if you want to get real nerdy, you take a video of every set, you write down every set, and then you start to learn what looks like, what feels like, and then you can, over time, get rid of those and just go by pure feelings.
Fastest way to get your squat strength back?
Where'd it go?
Squat more often.
That's a
Go back to what you were doing to get strong in the first place.
I think that as quickly as we lose it, you can get it back.
Yep.
People are like, oh, I had a month setback, my strength went way down. I'm like, well, give it another month and you'll probably be right back to
I'd almost even argue and say it's faster.
Yeah.
If you say you're squatting 500 and you took a month off, you could probably get back to 500 in 2 weeks if you program like
just
smart.
depending on how motivated you are.
I like that what you said. You said frequency. Yeah, like my approach after taking 6 months off is I'm squatting more often than before, and I'm handling more volume because I'm detrained in that capacity, so I could handle more.
It all depends on, because if you're totally beginner or you're advanced, whatever, there may be some differences. But I have experimented with some things like Bulgarian, really high frequency stuff coming back into a break, whether it be injury, travel, whatever, meet even, and that's accelerated obviously getting back to where you were. So I squat every day for 2 weeks, I'm right back to where I was, and then I can go back to my normal frequency at 3 to 4 times a week. There's the secret sauce. $10.99, PayPal me.
Yeah, how do you become a better coach? Updating yourself and getting better at programming?
Oh, he was saying like this is the way?
I pitched it up at the end, so it's a question.
All of it.
Yeah.
I think the best coaches in the world work on multiple facets at a time. I think you have to work on yourself as an athlete. I think that has to be part of what you do, because if you don't feel what you're feeling, you don't know how to explain some things sometimes, and that's especially for early coaches. No, the most jacked guy in the gym isn't the best coach, but he has one of the pieces. Another piece is, yeah, continue your learning, communicating. There's always more to learn and always more ideas to adapt from each other. 3, put into practice and experience your communication.
To get better at coaching, you have to coach more. You're not going to get better at coaching if you don't coach people, as obvious as that sounds. You learn a lot about things that tend to work for most people, things that don't. You also learn how to deal with certain setbacks that a number of clients have. So the more people you work with, I think the better you get at coaching. More so than any YouTube video or any book you'll read, working with people gets you better at coaching.
Yeah. And I'd say just try and not become dogmatic with your approach and be open and receptive to learning new things.
I've never done that.
Yeah. And then just the idea of guru worship, right? Where I think all of us, like when I first started, way back in the day, T-Nation, you look towards a source and then you think the source is the be-all end-all where it has all the answers. But then as you move up the hierarchy of information, one, practical experience hands-on as a coach, learning to be empathetic, all those things are skills that can only be learned while coaching. But when it comes to information, moving up the information hierarchy, so you go from just worshiping, once again, a guru, someone you think that's very intelligent, to actually looking at some of the research or the information yourself and making your own qualified opinions.
True.
How to deal with the psychological side of injuries, or how to not let them consume all your hopes and dreams and sink into your dark, gameless abyss.
Can I plug
That
away?
description tells me quite a bit about you.
Yeah, go on.
Jeez.
She's a strongman competitor, FYI, so I think it's...
I think that you always have to remain positive and put this stuff in perspective. We are just lifting weights. Even if you are competing, it's a hobby. Again, I said this earlier, just look at the big picture, and that I plan on training for the rest of my life.
Yep.
So I had a little knee issue going on for, I don't know, a few weeks ago. And as much as I immediately want to go, oh, fuck, it's going to ruin my squats, I just think like, this is going to pass, and in a few months I won't even remember it. So anyways, usually not that big of a deal.
Recently interviewed a really cool sports psych that works with a lot of Olympians, pro athletes, college, and even kids that are, we can argue are taking things too extreme, but, and he's said a lot of things Alan just said. He talks a lot about identity. It's on our podcast that we recorded, but it's identity and not being all in on what you do. There's a difference between being fully committed to a lifter and solely identifying as I am a lifter.
Yeah.
Have some other aspects of your life, hopefully, and that I think just goes to being a more healthy, fulfilled human. Different hobbies, job, relationships, polkas, something that keeps you going. 2, focus on what you can do. Hurt your knee. Alan was probably, I'd imagine, I didn't know, I haven't talked to him, but I imagine he was still here benching.
I was still squatting.
Yeah. But let's say he had an even more severe knee injury. He'd probably still be in here benching, or he'd be tracking his food to make sure his muscle stays. Whatever it is, there's always something you can continue to work on to help the recovery process, or to continue to be better at your sport, hobby, activity. And it is hard to define for us because we don't get paid for this. We're not paid lifters, and a lot of you that love powerlifting and love strongman, it's not your career. But there are athletes out there, and maybe some people watching that are professional athletes, and it's hard to define that identity. It's hard to define the depression from, man, I'm losing my chance at the Super Bowl, I'm losing my chance at the Olympics, whatever it might be. Build a plan, get a supportive group, talk to mentors that have been through it around you to help you emotionally. Next time I have a knee issue, I'm gonna hit up Alan and say, yo man, I think I have something funky with my knee. What'd you do to gain some moral support through that situation? But focusing on what you can, and stop sitting on your couch demonizing whatever that person just said, sadness.
Dark, gainless abyss.
Don't go to your gainless abyss and focus on what you cannot do.
Yeah, well, I think just when it comes to that, it's all about identity and not becoming too attached to one label. We oftentimes get a little, I think, too tribal, or even the idea, let's say you're a powerlifter, cool, you're doing your thing, and you do experience an injury that sets you back, and now you can't compete, and you had a whole bunch of goals in your head. There's a lot of different training modalities. For myself, when I dealt at a little bit of an acute injury that led to some SI issues for a while, for about 8 months, when that happened, I decided to get a bigger back. So I did a lot of pull-ups. Like, I focused on the hypertrophy. And so I just shifted the focus of my training. I still entered the gym. It reminds me of the individual that we had at my gym, where they injured their wrist. It was just a sprain. And think about all the things you could do. Yeah, you sprained one hand. Yeah. You could still, you know, belt squat, whatever, do leg press, a lot of different things. Unilateral.
You could probably still pull.
Yeah. Did not go back to the gym for 6 months. I think becoming too attached to your own personal identity, where you view yourself as, oh, I'm a competitive strongman lifter, or I'm a bodybuilder, even if that happens. You know, just to keep it in mind, the big picture. And you didn't. None of us entered, I think, lifting with a specific identity in the first place. You know, but you don't enter.
This is speaking to me. I was actually going to make a video about the things you're saying.
Do it, bro.
But yeah, just being in the gym, I see it all the time, is either identifying as a power lifter, and once you can't compete, it's like, I'm not going to train, or even being identifying so hard with a program,
or a federation.
This isn't a
or a style of squat.
Yeah. It's not a knock on starting strength at all, but I just see a lot of people doing starting strength or strong lifts because they're beginner programs. And once they start failing their lifts, they're like, damn, I can't do this program, and they disappear. They're like gone from the gym. You know, it's like, you can do other things,
and still continue the progress.
Right.
Well, guys, that is the video. Thank you so much for watching. She's now mine, bro. I'm sorry. If you liked the video, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like the damn video. Also, subscribe to both of these channels, Untame My Heart, Untame Strength, as well as Silencio Miguel, YouTube in the description. We're back every single damn day. And we'll see all you guys, my polkas, in the next video. Peace.